Welcome back. Okay, so the next page that we're going to be doing is the FAQ page. Now, we don't have anything over here for frequently asked questions that you would normally see if you had the plugin already installed, because it is another post type. Each of these are post types. So I'm going to download a new plugin for that. So let's go down to the plugin section, and I'm going to right click and it open a new window. So I can just stay in have my pages still open. And let's go add new, and we're going to find a FAQ plugin. So let's search for one. So the one I like the most is the quick and easy FAQs. So that's the one I'm going to search for. Some of the other ones there's a bunch of other ones, but it doesn't come up as nice on the website. So I just FAQ. Hopefully it'll show up on the search. There they are. So this one's got 5,000 installs. It's got good ratings on it as well, and that's what I'm going to install. And this one has a lot of more configurations for free than I've seen in the other ones, and it looks good on the site too. So they did a very good job when they made this one. Okay, so let's find it here. So here we go, quick and easy FAQs. And what it should have done is probably given us an FAQs here. So here they are. So let's do that first. Add a new group. So a group is a category here. So I'm just going to click on that. And just like on product categories or even blog categories, they're all the same. We want to add some categories to for our FAQs, and that just makes it easy for customers to find exactly what they're looking for questions. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few common ones that you get. So first one is shipping. Shipping is a common frequently asked question. So all you need to do is type it in, add group, and it should just add here by itself without even refreshing the screen. Another one is orders and payments. Okay, so that one is, somebody having trouble on their order, how do they pay, things like that. And another one could be returns. So any questions on return policy, things like that. And finally, one on products. Now, you're not 100% limited to that. Maybe there's specific FAQs about particular product types that you want to put in there, or more extensive ones on these other ones. You can go ahead and do that, but those are the basic ones that I'm going to put on. And so once you have these done, we can go and add a new frequently asked question. So let's click Add New under the FAQs menu here. And we're going to put our first question. We'll put our first question about shipping. So let's do a question on where do you ship, sell, and ship to? And then we can put we sell and ship to USA and Canada. If you are outside those countries and are I don't know what's with my typing today. If you're interested in purchasing our product, please contact us using our contact us form. Done. So there we go. There we are. So we have some information for a customer there on a frequently asked question. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the frequently asked questions, and then we can actually add it to our page. So I'm going to pause this video and then I'll get that done. But before I do that, actually, I just need to make sure that I assign the category that we just created. So we got to make sure that we assign them to the category so it's easy for customers to see where, but depending on their question, where they would go and find that. So let's add that. Okay, now I'm going to pause it and get the other ones done. Okay, I've added all of the FAQs that I thought would be good to add at the time. So let's go to all FAQs on the side here. And so we have all of these here, and I accidentally put two of the same one in here, so I'm just going to trash one of them. That's okay. Okay, so I have, if you notice here, I have all of the different questions. They all are assigned to certain categories. This particular one, I put it under orders and payments and shipping because it affects both for, shipping and your payment. So I added that one there. So those are all of the different FAQs. And now what I want to do is actually add it to my page. Now these all plugins usually have things like short codes, and that's what we're going to use to put on our page. So let's do that. Okay, and we're going to use one of the short codes that's in their documentation, and we're going to actually apply that. So let's just apply it blank by itself. So FAQs style, okay, is filterable toggle, and let's see how that looks on our page. So just going to right click on this, and here we go. Let's check it out. All right, so here's all of the questions and answers. So you click this down and you get an answer, and then of course then I can scroll across here and then see any of the FAQs actually sorted. Okay, so now we need to just pretty this up and maybe add some more elements to this page to just give it a little bit more dimension. But I think this looks really good already right off the bat. Okay, so let's first go back to the page, and now we know we have this shortcode that works, but I want to use the Visual Composer to be able to actually edit this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just highlighting this. I'm going to cut it, okay, so that it's not in there. And then what I'm going to do is I can either use the front end or the back end editor. Let's do the front end editor this time. So first, let's use the front end editor. And actually let's stay because I need to save that I cut that first, and then we'll do the front end editor, and I should have opened that in a new window, but that's okay. All right, so now I'm going to add a new element here, and that element can be let's do first something to do with asking questions. So maybe we do a text block on one side. So let's do a row first, and in that row let's make it 2 columns, and let's do this one here where it's a little bit bigger on one side and a little bit smaller on the other. Okay, and we can put in here some text. So in this one, let's put a heading, and we'll say ask us some questions, or have some questions. We have the answers. Okay, so we're going to save that, and notice how the text is not matching. That's because I didn't check off the box down here that said to use the theme font family. I wish it just did that by default. Okay, we're going to save that. Now, one thing you can do is I noticed that it's pretty big here. Have some questions. We have the answers. Maybe what we can do is just do a line break. So what you can do, now I know that this is HTML, but this will make it break. So you BR just like that and save it. Let's see if it works. Yeah. So there we go. What it did is it just did a hard return on there. Okay, so you can do that. I'll just open it up to show you again. So this little code snippet here, that is HTML for a line break, and that just makes it a little bit better. Okay, so we're gonna close that, and over here what we can do is maybe put a picture, or maybe we can put a text. So what we can do is maybe we'll put a heading over here, and let's do the text as a big question mark. Okay, let's make sure we have the line, the default family, and we can make this, maybe let's make this text color red or something. Okay, or actually let's do green, because green is a little bit more inviting. Okay, and then what we can do is let's just do the font size on this one. So let's start with, let's do, let's see, 70 pixels. Let's see how that looks on there. Okay, so that's still pretty small. We can always just do it a lot bigger actually. Let's do 150 pixels. Let's see that one. There, nice and big, question mark. Okay, and then I'm gonna add another element by clicking this one. And here I can put a text block. And we can put, we collect, I'm just gonna pause it and just write something. Okay, so I just wrote a paragraph here just to tell the customers, you know, we collect the questions and we're always trying to improve. And so we put the most common ones there. And hey, we even make changes because your questions have some meaning, right? So, okay, we have that in there. I'm just checking to make sure that everything else is good. I'm just gonna save that and close it. So there we go. Now down here is where we're gonna put our FAQ. So what we wanna do is you can choose a text block or you can choose just a flat HTML, like a raw HTML one. Either one, it doesn't really matter. I'll choose raw HTML. I'm sure that's fine. What you want to do, just select this and paste in this the short code that we had in there. We're going to save changes. Okay, so it's going to show up like this. Hopefully when we update it, I believe it should update. Okay, and actually, you know what? Let's just test that, make sure everything looks good. And we'll just wait for that to save. And then we're going to close the page off and that should bring it up. Okay, it's going to require us to actually do a text block in there. So that's not a problem. So we'll just edit it again. And sorry about that. I thought you could do that, but I was wrong. So I'm just going to delete that. Okay, and we'll just add a new element and a text block in here. And just delete the text. Enter that in, save the changes, close it. There we go. Okay, so here we are. And it's, you know, it's tucked up nice and close to this. Now, what I like to do too is when I'm changing, like this is okay together, but I do want to break this page up a little bit to make it look a little nicer. Also, we're going to change a little bit of the style of this to kind of match what we're doing. But I mean, right off the bat, it does look good. We just want it to make it look a little bit better. Okay, and then down here, what we can do is let's create something about some questions, maybe some other questions or some sort of a rotator. So let's do that now. So what we want to do is click on this pageable container. And what that does is it works similar to this row and column thing that we've been doing before, but this time it actually puts those into a rotating ability. So it's one element, but has a whole bunch of stuff in it that rotates from one to another using what's called pagination. Okay, so to do that, I have my mouse hovered over here, and what we want to do is we want to first set the this one looks different now. We don't have the green box when we hover over. It has this row, but then it has this over here, and that's because it's acting similar to the row and column system. So what we want to do first is add some information to or some settings to our pagination container. So first I clicked on that to edit it. Now I'm not putting a title in here. You can if you want, but I just want it to be really simple. The other one is autoplay. So we're making a rotator, so we want it to autoplay for sure. Instead of having people click on stuff. So let's put it, it every 2 or 3 seconds it moves. You can put it up to 5, but somebody might not sit there for 5 seconds waiting. So 3 seconds might be okay. This active section will be the first one. Obviously we type in, that's the first one that they see. Do we want the dots or point dots at the bottom or these rounded fill square dots? You can do whatever you want on this one, and since we kind of got a blocky look to it, let's see how those rounded fill square dots, let's do fill square dots. Okay, and let's make a color sort of matching what we're doing. Maybe we can come back in here and change this, but let's just do this Vista blue for now. just to have it kind of pop up. And where do we want those little dots to be? We can have it on the top or the bottom, and I think the bottom is fine in this case. And that's it. Okay, so we're going to save that. Okay, and we're going to close. Now it automatically, you see these two little dots, it's created two sections for us already, and it's already highlighting this section. So we can actually edit this section now. If you go over here to section, you can click this edit section button. This gives just particular settings for this section. So of course, here's the section title, which it doesn't show up. It doesn't really matter on that. Okay, and then that's all we need to do here just to make sure that that's okay. Now we click on this little section here, okay, and we can click the plus button, okay? And what that does is it gives us the ability to put something in this section. Now you can make a whole cool thing in this, its own little beast basically, by you can adding images or headings or anything like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just put in just some raw text here, and I'm going to put in, I don't know, I'm going to put in a quote or something that I find maybe about fishing. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put in a quote here and save it. Okay, so I've put this quote in here, and I'm just going to save that. Okay, and we'll close that. Now, one thing is it's all sort of just stuck up here, so I'm going to work with it to push this element down into the center, but I want to get all of my stuff in here. So I've had this highlighted. I can click on this one and add a new, I'm going to add another quote to this section. Okay, and let's do that. Okay, so I'm just going to paste in this one as well. Okay, and we're going to go into, of course, into the style of text that we want here. And let's put that back. Okay, excellent. And just make sure I have it the same style. So I'm gonna bold out the person who made the quote, save the changes. Okay, and let's go to the next one here. Now, so we have two sections here. We need to add another one. Let's say we want a third quote. To do that, you go to the section area and say prepend to section. So what that's going to do, oh no, sorry, you have to click on here and go add a new section underneath pageable container. Okay, and that will add a new dot here, a new section dot. Okay, so we're going to add one more element to this, and I'm going to add an image. So let's add an image here. So we have two quotes and an image. So I'm going to go ahead and add one. You know, let's just for the sake of time, I'm just going to add this one again. Okay, let's set that image there, and let's make sure it's large. And let's do center alignment. Okay, and I think anything else is good. I don't know if this will work, but we can try it. It's going to fade in. And so let's just save that. Okay, it's quite big. So I think that we should actually shrink it in a little bit. So let's do medium and see how that looks. Yeah, it's a little bit smaller. You could probably even go a little bit smaller than that too. So let's do thumbnail. Okay, so small, like, you know, just to see it, you can put different elements. You can even add more elements to this element down here, so you have a few things, and you can set this whole thing up like it's a whole page on its own. So so that's it. Okay, so we've done the three. We can update it and see what it looks like first before we go any further. So let's do that update. Let's close out the page and see what it looks like. So let's go down here. So here we go, here's our thing, and it should be, it's already switched over by itself, and it's switched over. So you can see automatically it's switching over to each of the elements as it's going. So, you know, you have the nice quotes there, and it's going through. What I want to do though is make this whole column a different color, first of all, and then maybe place the text in the center. So let's edit that. So everything is sort of, it's centered. It's got some margins in there so that we can have this actually looking a lot nicer. Okay, so first we want the row to be expanded out. Whoops, I accidentally created a new row, which I did not want to do. I pushed this plus sign instead of this edit button here. Okay, I want to stretch the row. I don't want to stretch the content though. I want the content to stay in the center. Okay, and we just want to make sure that everything is good. Content position, top, middle, bottom. I want to put it in the middle. Let's see how that looks first. Okay. And it probably, yeah, in this case, it didn't pull it down. So to pull it down, what we want to do is just go over here to this pageable container. This container, we want to pull it down. So all of the stuff inside of this container is all the same. So I'm going to click on the edit on that and go to the design options. So here, what we want to do is increase some padding to push it down. And so let's do 60 pixels and see how that looks. And there it goes. So it's in the center. Now what it's done too is it looks like it might have pushed the bottom out, but we can see how that looks when we actually make the whole row. So once I've done that, now what I want to do is take this text and center it in here. So to do that, you would want to edit the text block itself. Okay, and we can just highlight the text and hit the center, align center here. Okay, and yeah, and so we can do that. Another thing you could do, I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to look if I did this. So I used a block quote, and what that did is it made it look a lot more nicer. So if you saw how I did that, I just highlighted the text here, and you can see how it covered over like that. So I can see it just makes it look so much more slick. So we're going to do the next one. So that's the first section. Let's click on the next section. So we're going to do that to this one. So let's do this block quote. We're going to highlight it. We're going to put it in, align in the center, and we're going to block quote it, save it, and close it. So there we go. Now you see how this is over. Well, that just happens to be my screen, but we can force this to go down to the bottom, or just underneath it by just doing a hard return. So we can just go like this and we'll just hard return it like that. Might be too far down. Oh, it's okay. Okay, so there we go. What you could do too, by the way, this is, so there's a hard return, and a hard return might do almost like 2 spaces. If you hold down the shift button on your keyboard and hit enter, it does a single line hard return down. Okay, so then it'll be nice and snug up on the bottom like that. Okay, and I'm just going to do this last one. And now this one here, we don't have to worry about it, but we might want to make sure that it's the right size that we want. And even if you wanted to put a title on there, you could. Okay, so there, we've done all these 3 things here like this, and you know, you have some random fish hook here, but that's just to show you can do other elements. And one thing I want to do is actually make this whole row a color, right? So so it's sort of like a band strip across. So I'm going to click on this edit button here, and we're going to color the background on this. Okay, so let's do design options and change the background color. So let's do maybe closer to, let's see how this looks, and sort of this, you know, I don't know if I am a fan of the orange, but maybe let's try to get it to this color, which is kind of like salmon. So let's do that here. I have that color. Okay, and save it. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. Now that I've done that, now the text color doesn't go very well with it. So what I would want to do probably is change these dots to white. So let's see if we can change that. So you saw I went there, change those to white, and now we got to change the text to white. So in certain cases, we have control over the color of the text quite easily, but because we're using this this particular feature here, we don't have a simple way of changing the color here, unfortunately. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can use this CSS class, but we're not going to do that. We're actually going to do this. underneath this text thing here, what I'd like you to do is where it has style, the style center, what you can do is type in color white. Okay, so, and then you can put a semicolon at the end of it if you want to, but you don't have to. And that should change the color to white so it has nice white text. So we're going to do that on the 3 elements here. Okay, and we're going to change those to white. Okay, and I don't know why it didn't give us that option. We don't need to worry too much about that. Also, this color is completely matching this, so I'm going to go back and change that. I don't know why it didn't have the right one, so maybe if we change it, I think this one is a little bit closer. There we go. So now we have nice flowing thing here, and so we're going to go ahead and update this, and let's see how it looks on the front page. Okay, and I know that image, the little hook image, is kind of out of place. Like I wouldn't put that in production. So there we go. One thing I noticed right away is this padding is kind of even, but the padding up here when it's a little bit lower is too much down. So I might bring it up another maybe 10 pixels. Okay, so there we go. There you go. You have a rotating banner. You can also click on these little things and see the actual text across. Okay. So there we go. And one more thing we're going to add onto this is going to be a contact form on questions that you have. So one thing about contact us is like, hey, I really like your product or something, but this is a good opportunity to actually get people to reach out as directly in the FAQ section. So what I'm going to do down here is that we're going to put a contact form in here, and we're going to learn all about contact forms in the next video. So we'll see you in the next video.